Hello everyone and welcome back to FamilyLifeBuildersTV, where we're rebuilding homes and transforming society. My name is Tosin Opeoluwa and I am a transformational coach. In this video, I'm going to be talking about how to end emotional abuse, and I'm going to make this video in two parts because I don't want it to be so long and I want you to enjoy it. Now, the first thing I like to say is this: I would have loved to go ahead and just talk about the solution alone, but I will say that it's essential for us to name it, because if we don't name it, we won't know how to fix it. Emotional abuse is a pattern of behavior in which the perpetrator insults, humiliates, and generally instills fear in the victim in order to gain control or retain control over them. So their victim reality may become distorted over time, especially if they internalize the abuse as their own feelings. This might in turn cripple the victim's emotions, and that's why you see some people, they can't make any decision without their partner. They have to depend on their parents, friend. They have to depend on people for them to be able to make their decision. They need people to always validate them, so even at the slightest decision. Now let's talk about some examples. Overt, it includes monitoring and controlling a person's behavior, such as how they spend money and how they spend their time, who they spend their time with, how they spend their money, who they spend their money for. They only want you to give to them, they don't want you to give to other people. Number two is they threaten a person's safety, property, or loved ones. They will isolate the person from family, friends, and acquaintances. Another thing that they do is they demean, they shame or humiliate the person, especially in the presence of their family members or sometimes in the presence of their friends. And this is not even really about you, it's about them, it's about their insecurity, it's about their failure, it's about the littleness in them. And another thing they do is they are extremely jealous, and they accuse you as well, you know, of what you don't even do. They are paranoid, and they are always delivering constant criticism about you. They are constantly judging you, they are constantly opposing your view. You know, they just don't believe in you. They don't, and it's not as if they are not seeing the good in you, it's just that they just want to pull you down. They just want you to be emotionally damaged so that you are not strong enough to come out or to come above their control. And another thing they do is they regularly ridicule or tease you. And trust me, this is not about your partner alone, it's also about friends. Some friends do this, some family members do this, and that's why there might be a need for you to, you know, think about, be able to name some of these things so that you can fix them. Another thing they do is making acceptance or care conditional on a person's choices. For example, they are going to tell you that if you don't do this for me, I don't do this for you. I have seen a couple of relationship where the husband will not touch their wife or have sex with their wife or have sex with their husband because they are not, you know, satisfying them in a particular way, or they didn't do something for them. It's an emotional abuse. They are just going to torture them as a result of what they don't do for them. Another thing is refusing to allow a person to spend time alone. They are always, you know, around you. They want to spend time with you on phone for 12 hours. You know, they spend all the night with you, and in the morning you're the first person they call. It's not because they love you, it's because they are just trying to control your life. Another thing is thwarting a person's professional or personal goal. So when you tell them about your dreams, about your visions, they will find a way around telling you what you're doing is not the right thing. What they think you should be doing is actually the right thing. Another thing they do is they instill self-doubt and worthlessness in you. They make you to see yourself as someone that does not really want it. For example, you tell them you want to go into catering. They are going to tell you that the last time you cook, your food is terrible. The last time I checked, your cooking skill is very terrible. I don't think that is what you should go for. So these are some of the things that they do to make you feel worthless. Sometimes even in training your children or raising your children, they tell you, with all the skills you have, with all the knowledge you think you have, it's not showing on the way you are training your children. These are some of the things that breaks you down, and they are doing it intentionally. The last thing on my overt list is gaslighting. They are going to make you question your competence and even their basic, perceptual experiences. Something, and they will tell you something else, and you will look at yourself and say, did I actually say that? Did I actually, so they are just trying to break you down. They are just trying to bring you down. Another thing I'm going to say about covert emotional abuses includes passive aggression. So for passive aggression, and they are kind of tiny and micro insults. For example, they can say, why is it that you can't do anything properly like I do it? You seem not useful, in so many areas. Another thing about covert emotional abuse is silent treatment. For example, they might tell you that, well, you don't like being corrected, so I'm just going to keep quiet. And you not liking being corrected really mean they are always criticizing you. They are always making you, pull you down. They are always pulling you down. They are always pulling you down. And that's what they are saying. That's what they are telling you, that I'm going to give you a silent treatment because you don't want me to pull you down. You don't want me to, you don't want me to break you further. So I'm going to give you another method. I'm going to be quietly, pulling you down. They give you some silent treatments. Another thing is they make you feel guilty. Sometimes they change the dynamics. They start playing victims. Let me give you an example of that. If you don't act that way, I won't talk that way. You need to make me happy. It's because you're talking that way. It's because you are, your response to things, the way you are reacting to things. That's why I'm acting that way. That's why I talk that way. So they make you feel guilty and they try to shame you. Another thing is they don't respect boundaries. Unfortunately, many of us don't even know how to set boundaries or enforce our boundaries. We can't enforce our boundaries when it's about to be violated, when we don't even have any boundaries around our lives. There's a need for us to have boundaries in our life. There's a need for us to have boundaries, physical boundaries, sexual boundaries, financial boundaries. If we are able to set those boundaries, then we will be able to protect ourselves, protect our emotion better. And number 5 is they can't validate your emotional feelings. So for example, if you're tired, they will ask you, what did you do? And if you are healed, they can't even talk about you taking a medication. They will insult you instead. They will rather like, well, that's your problem if you don't want to take any medication. And number 6, they completely ignore you when you're speaking. They either pretend like they can't hear you, or sometimes they are just going to do like they are lost in thought. Meanwhile, they can hear you, and sometimes they wait for you to speak 2 times, 3 times before they answer you. They are doing it intentionally. I've seen women divorce after 35 years of marriage, and they said, I stayed because of my children, and now all my children are grown-ups. I have to leave. This is the result. This is what happens in the African context. But here is my question: because you are a woman, does that mean you don't have anything you are on this planet Earth to do? Does that mean you have to endure because you have to endure pain of emotional abuse because you want to stay with your children. Let me tell you the truth. Those children are watching you, and we keep repeating pattern from generation to generation. And I must say this, that if abuse will stop, then we need to look back and check the pattern. What is our children seeing? Because what our children sees is what they imbibe unconsciously. It gets into their subconscious and they start acting the same way. I have said it over and over. I think I mentioned it in this book, Goodbye Domestic Violence. It's on Amazon, and I'll also put the link in the description box below. I have said it over and over again. Emotional abuse is something that can end, and it can only end if we can name it and we can fix it. I talk about generational attitude, that there are so many things that people call generational causes. Like, say in this family, people don't stay with their husband, but did you ask what is the pattern like? Because here is the thing, if you marry an abusive person and you stay in that abuse longer than necessary, your children tend to capture that attitude, and at the same time they will go ahead and attract the kind of their parents. So when they get into their marriage also, they will repeat the same thing. It is going to be the same thing. They are going to marry the kind of their father unless somebody comes to that understanding, unless somebody decides that no, I'm going to do my own differently, I'm going to live differently, I'm going to be different. Then they trace it. When they trace it, they identify it, and they will be able to fix it. So in the next video, I'm going to be talking about this solution, but let me quickly ask you a question. When you get older, very old, and something happens, who is going to take care of you? As a man abusing your wife right now, who will take care of you? Is it that same woman, if she's still alive, if you haven't killed her? And if she's alive, will she be useful? Let me ask you too, who chose to stay in the abusive relationship? And I'm not asking you to leave your husband's house. All I am saying is, enough of women living in depression, living in ill health, when they're supposed to sit down and enjoy the fruit of their labor. Enough of that. What are you going to live for? How do you want to live your life? What do you want to transfer to your children? Will you love to address this situation now and let there be a change in your home and enjoy the transformation together? And if either of the party or the person abusing you refuses to change, then the door should be open for you to leave, and live for good and abundance. I'll see you in the next video. Don't forget to subscribe, love the video, share with your friends, and keep becoming a better you, because things work if we work it. Bye for now.